Hello, in this CSS crash course video we're going to be looking at shadows. Pretty self-explanatory by the name. It allows you to add a shadow to something. In this case it is going to be an element. That's what you would add it to. Also we're going to show you how to add a shadow to text as well, which is called a text shadow. So first of all, what we're going to do is create a div with an ID of box shadow. And inside here, we're not actually going to put anything because we're going to style it. So in the CSS file, we're going to put hash box shadow, and the code for this is going to be height 512 pixels, the actual height and the width, and pretty much all the properties by the box shadow you can change as you want. It could be an image inside. This is just to actually help demonstrate the box shadow, which is the first one I'm going to show you. So I'm going to put a width of 512 pixels. I'm going to put a margin of 50 pixels, so it's just a bit away from the edges. I'm going to put a background color of red. And let's just save that and see our result before we add a shadow. So refresh, we've got this square, no shadow at the moment. And now to add a shadow, you do box dash shadow, then you put colon, and then you put the actual areas that you want to add a shadow to. So how much? 10 pixels, let's put 20 pixels, let's put 3 pixels, 1 pixel, and now you put the color value. I'm going to put a gray in hexadecimal. If I save that, refresh, as you can see we now have our shadow. So beyond that, there's not much more to it really. You can modify these values accordingly, use negative numbers to achieve different results. I recommend doing that, seeing what you can achieve. It's a great way of learning. But we're also going to show you an inner shadow. So what we'll do is copy and paste this, rename this to inner shadow. Again, we're not going to have any text or anything inside here. In the index.css, we'll just duplicate this, rename this to inner. The only thing we want to change is the box shadow. And what we'll actually do is change this to inset, and we'll put 0, 0, 7 pixels, 5 pixels, and put a value of hash DDD, refresh, and if we go in, we now have an inset shadow where the shadow is going in instead of going out. So that's the way you would do like a inner shadow. And then finally, let's add some text or create another div. So I'm going to put div, assign an ID of text shadow, and I'm going to put some text in here. I'm going to put hello world, keep it simple. Now in the index CSS, just put text shadow for the identifier, and now we're just going to put a margin of 100 pixels, again just so it's away from anything else, the edges and the other divs. I'm going to put a font size of 4em. Before we actually add the shadow, I'm just going to refresh this so you can see what we've got before a shadow is added. And now with a shadow, so you would put text shadow, not box shadow, it's a text shadow. Now you just put your value, don't put 10 pixels, 10 pixels, 2 pixels, and then value of red, so hash ff 0000. And as you can see, we now have a text shadow. We could reduce these values slightly, so let's put 5, 5, 1. It's a little closer. That, in all fairness, looks a lot better. Could even reduce it further. We could put something like a 3, 3. Yeah, that's looking pretty good now. Because before the separation was a little too much, but that's text shadows. We showed inner shadows and just regular box shadows. Very simple stuff, but very, very effective. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Feel free to post them on our education platform, sonarlearning.co.uk. There will be a resource link with this video, which will be for our GitHub page, which will show you all the source code from every video in this series. And as usual, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day.